Good morning. In the previous section, we have discussed regarding the module 3, that is design of transformer. So there we have discussed regarding the various topics like output equation of a transformer, then EMF per turn of a transformer, core design of a transformer, then the expression for no load current of a transformer, the main dimensions of a transformer, and the expression for leakage reactance and the cooling tanks. So in today's lecture, I am going to discuss about the module 4, that is design of induction motor. So again in this case, we are going to discuss the different design uh, parameters, and then we are going to solve some examples on each topic on each topic. So again, in today's lecture, I'm going to share some of the documents. In this case, we will see the first introduction of this particular induction motor and the particular construction, and then uh, various parameters. So here it is the design of induction motor. So induction motors are the AC motors. These are the AC motors which are employed as the prime movers in most of the industries. Such motors are widely used in industrial applications from small workshops to large industries. And whatever the 60 to 70 percentage of the motors we are using, so they are the induction motors. Also, these motors are employed in applications such as centrifugal pumps, conveyors, compressor, crushers, and drilling machines, etc. Now, the construction of this induction motor, as all we know that the construction of this particular induction motor, so it is similar to the DC machine, So it is consisting of a stationary member called stator and a rotating member called rotor. There are two parts, one is stator and another one is rotor. However, the induction motor differs from a DC machine in the following aspects. So one is here there is a laminated stator. Second, there is no commutator in the induction motor. Then whatever the air gap is there, it is uniform and small. Then the whatever the speed of the motor is there, it is constant. That is practically it is constant speed motor. Now the AC induction motor comprises of two electromagnetic parts. So there are two electromagnetic part. One is the stationary part called the stator, and another one is rotating part called the rotor. So the stator and the rotor are each made of an electric circuit, usually made of insulated copper or aluminum winding to carry a current. Again, a magnetic circuit also there in the stator and rotor. So usually made from laminated silicon steel to carry the magnetic flux. So this is the stator and the rotor. Now we'll see uh, about the stator. Now the stator is the outer stationary part of the motor, so which mainly consists of the outer cylindrical frame, of the motor, or it is called as yoke. Again, which is made either of welded sheet steel, cast iron, or the cast aluminum alloy. The frame of the motor is there, so the made up of it may be welded sheet steel, or it may be cast iron, or it may be cast aluminum alloy. Now, the magnetic path, which comprises a set of slotted steel laminations called as the stator core So these are pressed into the cylindrical space inside the outer frame, and the magnetic path is it is laminated to reduce eddy currents and reducing losses and heat. So whatever the magnetic path is there, so or the circuit is there, it is laminated to reduce eddy currents and to reduce the losses. Again, in the stator, there are a set of insulated electrical windings which are placed inside the slots of the laminated stator, and the cross-sectional area of these windings must be large enough for the power rating of the motor. Again, for a three-phase motor, if I consider, there are three set of windings which are required. So one for each phase connected in either star or delta. So whatever the below figure is there, so it is showing the cross-sectional view of induction. This particular will show cross-sectional view of induction. So in this case, there is a stator, outermost part, and again there is a rotor. Again there are some stator slots. These are slots, and there are again some rotor slots, and there is some air gap between the stator and the rotor. So it is a cross-sectional view of induction motor. In this case, again about the rotor. Now rotor is, as we know, it is rotating part uh, of the induction motor. The rotor also consists of set of slotted silicon steel laminations pressed together to form a cylindrical magnetic circuit and the electric circuit. The electric circuit of the rotor is of the following nature. So it may be a squirrel cage rotor, consist of a set of copper or aluminum bars installed into the slots which are connected to an end ring at each end of the rotor. In case of squirrel cage, there are set of copper or aluminum bars installed into the slots which are connected to an end ring at each end of the rotor. Sorry. The construction of this type of rotor along with the windings resembles a squirrel cage. Now, the aluminum rotor bars are usually die cast into the rotor slots, so which results in a very rugged construction. Very rugged construction. So even though the aluminum rotor bars are in direct contact with the steel laminations, practically all the rotor current flows through the aluminum bars and not in the laminations. Now, due to this, we use again the wound rotor which mainly consists of three set of insulated windings with the connections brought out to three slip rings mounted on one end of the shaft. Again, the external connections to the rotor are made through the brushes onto the slip rings. So due to the presence of these slip rings, such type of motors are called as slip ring induction motors. So again, uh, in the sectional view of the full induction motor, along with the stator and rotor, there are some more parts. There are some more parts which are required to complete the constructional detail of an induction motor. So along with the stator, along with the rotor, again there are some parts. So they are here, there two end flanges to support the two bearings, one at the driving end and other at the non-driving. There are two end flanges, so which are again the mechanical parts you can say, so which are mainly used to support the two bearings. Where the driving end will have the shaft extension. Here there are two ends, one is driving and another one is non-driving. So where the driving end will have the shaft extension. Again, there are two set of bearings to support the rotating shaft. So two bearings are used. Again, steel shaft will be there for transmitting the mechanical to the load. whatever the power developed in the particular motor is there, so it has to be transmitted to the particular node. So in order to have that, there will be steel shaft. Again, cooling fan will be provided at the non-driving end to provide forced cooling for the stator and the rotor. Again, there will be terminal box on top of the yoke or on side to receive the external electrical connections. So in this case, whatever the figure 2 is there, it show the construction detail of different parts of induction motor. So here it is the stator laminations, whatever the figure 2 is there, stator laminations. Figure 3 it is showing stator core with a smooth yoke. So whatever the particular this part is there, so it is stator core with the smooth yoke. This is what the outer part is yoke. Again, next we'll see the another part, that is stator with the ribbed yoke. So whatever the outermost part we are seeing, so it is ribbed, or you can say somewhat rugged in construction. So the inside part is the stator and outside is what it is yoke. And it is about the rotor, it is squirrel cage rotor. So whatever the rotor bars are there, so they are again shorted at the ends. So it is the squirrel cage rotor. Now we'll see uh, introduction to design. So here the main purpose of designing an induction motor is to obtain the complete physical dimensions of all the parts of the machine. So in order to have the proper designing of an induction motor, we need to have complete physical dimensions of all the parts of the machine. Again, mm, in order to satisfy the customer specifications, uh, the following design details are required. Following design details are required. So these are the main design details. So in this case, you can see the main dimensions of the rotor. First, the main dimensions of the stator. Second, detail of stator windings. Then design detail of rotor and its winding. Then performance characteristics. So in order to get the above design details, the designer needs the customer specifications. So after getting the specification from the customer, the designer can design the particular dimensions. So now it is also depending on the rated output power, then rated voltage, number of phases, speed, frequency, connection of stator winding, type of rotor winding, working conditions, shaft extension details, etc. So in addition to the above, designer must have the details regarding design equations based on which the design procedure is initiated. Information regarding the various choice of various parameters, information regarding the availability of different materials, and the limiting values of various performance parameters such as iron and copper loss, no load current, power factor, temperature rise, and the efficiency. Efficiency. So first we'll discuss the output equation of this particular induction motor. So the output equation is the mathematical expression which gives the relation between the various physical and electrical parameter of the electrical machine. So now again in this case, whatever output equation is there, it is relating uh, the particular various physical and electrical parameters of the electrical machine. In an induction motor, the output equation can be obtained as follows. So here, let us consider an M phase machine. Let us consider an M phase machine. With the usual notations, whatever the output Q of the motor in kilowatt is there, it is equal to input into efficiency. Because efficiency is given by output divided by input. So output will be given by input into efficiency. Now input to the motor will be given by what? So it is M V phase I phase cos pi. That is M V I cos pi. M cos pi into 10 raised to minus 3. For a three phase machine, whatever the M is there, it is equal to 3. So now I can write input to the motor as 3 V phase I phase cos pi and 10 raised to minus 3. Assuming V phase equal to E phase, V phase equal to E phase is equal to 4.44 F pi T phase kW. T phase kW. So now it is again 2.22 F pi Z phase kW. Z phase kW. So whatever the frequency is there, it is given by this equation. PNS divided by 120, or it is PNS divided by 2. PNS divided by 2. So now the output will be given by 3 into 2.22 PNS divided by 2 F, then pi Z phase kW. Now it is I phase eta, it is efficiency cos pi into 10 raised to minus 3. 10 raised to minus 3. Now if I simplify this, again the output will be 1.11 into P phi into 3 I phase Z phase into NS kW eta cos pi 10 raised to minus 3. Now here, whatever the this term P phi is there, it is given by BEV pi dl, and again whatever the Q is there, so or this 3 I phase Z phase divided by pi d is equal to Q. Equal to Q. We'll see what is this Q, D and all. Okay, below here. Here now output to the motor will be given by just by putting these values instead of this thing. I am putting P pi. Sorry, this P phi. I am putting BAV pi dl, and this particular will be replaced by Q. Okay, so here this is 1.11 BAV pi dl into pi dq into ns kw eta cos pi. Eta cos pi. So here just to simplify this, there are pi square BAB, Q is there, KW eta cos pi at minus 3. Now I am taking this d square L outside, d square L ns outside. So it is again given by 1.11 BAB Q KW eta cos pi 10 to minus 3 d square L ns kilowatt. So again, sorry, this pi square is 3.1 volt into 3.1 volt, it is 11 no? Into 1.1 if I do, yes, finally I'll get Q is equal to C naught d square ln L ns kilowatt. Now whatever the C naught, as in case of the DC motor we have seen, so this particular whatever the output coefficient C naught is there, so it is 11 B VQ KW eta cos pi 10 raised to minus 3. So now we'll see the different parameters what we have taken. V phase is phase voltage, I phase is phase current, Z phase is number of conductors per phase. Now T phase is number of turns per phase, N is synchronous speed in RPM. Small n is synchronous speed in RPS. P is number of poles. Q is specific electric loading. Pi air gap flux per pole. BAV average flux density. KW winding factor. Eta efficiency. And cos pi is power factor. And whatever the capital D is the diameter of the stator. And L is the gross core length. And the C naught will be output coefficient. Output coefficient. So here, this is the output equation of a particular induction motor. Induction motor. So this is, in this case, you can see different parameters. Yeah. So in the next lecture, I'll discuss the choice of specific loadings. There is choice of specific electric loading and the magnetic loading. So thank you.